Hi, I'm Annie.
I'm Grace,
And I'm Kitty.
and this is DGTV.
First, we have an interview Grace did with the assistant director from the film Willow, Adrian Dowell.
I know you're from Dumfries and Galloway. How did you first get into filmmaking?
Yeah, I'm originally from Wigtown in southwest Scotland, and I went to the art school in Edinburgh. I thought I was going to study fine art and specialise in sculpture and paint and drawing. And then within the first week there, my painting tutor said that I was the worst painter that had ever came through the gates at the art school, and I better find something else because painting wasn't going to be my thing. So luckily, there was a film and TV course there, which I never knew anything about at this when I applied. Although I had sort of looked into other film and TV courses, there was a course at Napier at the time, but it sort of was more focused on photography, and you needed a bit more experience. So it was something that I didn't go for. But during my first year, there was an elective to try out film and TV. So that's what I did, and kind of realised that actually all my childhood I had been watching movies. I had loved storytelling, loved writing, and like film and TV was probably the thing that I should have studied first and foremost. So it was an opportunity. Like they literally just gave us some cameras and said, "Off you go. See you in a week. Come back with something fun." So me and a bunch of the guys created a horror film that was like a pastiche of Friday the 13th, and I think I ended up having to act in it as well as directing it and editing it. So yeah, and it kind of gave me that experience of just what it took to piece a film together right from the start, right through the process. And yeah, I fell in love with it.
I've just seen the exciting new trailer for the new series. It looks amazing, and I was wondering if you remember watching the original for the first time.
I do. It was on video from a local video shop, and I remember sitting watching with my best mate John at the time, and just being totally blown away with this world and the adventure, because I was like right into like the Goonies and just these movies where you would just get a bunch of characters that really shouldn't be together, and these sort of fantastical worlds and all the magic and the adventure. Yeah, it totally blew me away. And I remember us actually, when the video shop was closing down, we went up and we bought the video, and we just played it on a loop. So from going from being a big fan to then getting the opportunity to work on the show was just incredible.
Did Warwick Davis have a lot of influence on how the series would be made?
As far as I know, Warwick and the showrunner, John Kasdan, had a chat on the movie, the Star Wars movie Solo, because John was writing Solo and Warwick was in it. And John's a huge fan of Willow, obviously, and they had just talked about how can we make this happen? How can we bring you back? Mm-hmm. And I think they talked. Ron Howard was directing the movie at the time, and he directed the original Willow. And they kept the negotiations and talk going. So John kind of went off and started sort of mulling it over, and then came up with a pitch. And yeah, Lucasfilm and Disney went for it.
I would love to have a career similar to yours. So what advice would you give someone like me, or to other young people like me who want to go into the film industry?
If I could go back and sort of give myself some advice, knowing what I know now, I'd advise people to get as much work experience as you possibly can. Like, I think the majority of people are sort of drawn to what they think is the sort of the sexy kind of roles, the writers, directors, producers, the cameramen. But there's so many other avenues. There's so many interesting jobs that are as creative within the industry. And I think at the start, you just don't quite know what's out there, what's available. So I'd certainly say if you can get as much as work experience as possible, that would be the way to go. Get into production, or as many productions as you possibly can, as a trainee, and see what the opportunities are. It seems to be a lot more opportunities now.
I had a great time interviewing Adrian. I learned a lot from him. Next, we have a video Sarah from DGTV made, all about hidden history in Dumfries and Galloway. Take a look.
We are at New Abbey today, and this is what's known as Sweetheart Abbey. As it says here, there is a romantic tale behind Sweetheart Abbey. In 1268, when Lord John Balliol died, his grieving wife, Lady Divergilla, had his heart removed and was known to have carried it with her everywhere she went for the rest of her life. She would even have it sit with her at mealtimes, which would be interesting for the guests at her dinner parties, I would imagine. There is some unusual history for you about Sweetheart Abbey, which, legend has it, has been standing since 1273 in New Abbey. Dumfries Academy dates back to the 14th century, making it the earliest school in the Dumfries area, and it has been standing there since 1804. Sir James Matthew Barry is probably the most famous graduate of Dumfries Academy. J.M. Barry's childhood playground, Moat Brae, where the idea of Peter Pan was inspired, is right behind the school. J.M. Barry said his time at Dumfries Academy was the happiest of his life. Southerness Beach is a beautiful wide beach which is perfect for family time and long walks, especially with dogs. However, I don't think many people realise how historical and interesting the lighthouse is, which has been standing there since 1794, making it the second oldest lighthouse in the whole of Scotland. Sadly, you can no longer go inside the lighthouse as it has been deemed a safety hazard, but it is still a great aspect in Southerness.
Sadly, Sarah can't be here for the show. She mentioned that she began making her film around the lighthouse at Southerness, which made her realise the hidden history in Dumfries and Galloway, and being able to want to share it in her film. The beach is the best part about living in Southerness, she mentioned, as she enjoys spending time with friends and family there. Her favourite part about this experience was using the drone to get her amazing shots included in her film. She mentioned that her main struggle was the weather as it was raining and had to sacrifice her jacket to save the camera. Next up, we have a quick promotional video from our sponsor, Muirhall Energy.
Hello, I'm Adam Tom, and I'm a project officer with Muirhall Energy.
We're delighted to be sponsoring DGTV at this year's Scottish Youth Film Festival. Both of our projects in Dumfries and Galloway, Hopsrig Wind Farm and Loganhead Wind Farm, have recently had applications submitted for optimised schemes. These revised applications will allow us to increase the community benefit to over £1 million per year across both projects, which is trebling our existing commitment. You can find project information at our website. If you feel you can support our project, you can do so by writing to the Energy Consents Unit using the email representations@gov.scot. And finally, we would like to say good luck to all the young filmmakers at this year's festival.
In case you missed it earlier today during the awards, the winner for the best film is Sydney Samuel with their film Strange Journey. Let's take a look at their film.
well done to the winner, Sydney Samuel.
Next, we have an interview with actor Rachel Keeler and Annie.
Thank you for agreeing to be interviewed today.
No problem.
Obviously, you work with the Scottish Youth Film Foundation because you're here today. And how long have you been working with SIF?
This is my third festival. I've been working with Scott and Dave, who run the Scottish Youth Film Festival, for quite a number of years on different film projects, but I'm pretty sure this is my third festival.
So you've been running Build a Scene today, and have you had a good amount of participants?
Yeah, we are actually oversubscribed today for the workshop, which was great. So what that meant was that we kind of had to give everyone a shot at every kind of different role. So it meant that people got a wee bit less time maybe than what we would have liked doing directing, for example, but then loads of people got a chance at doing a little bit of directing, which was great.
So how does Build a Scene work exactly?
So today how it worked was we had two groups working on two different scenes. So we picked two scenes. One was from Stranger Things, the TV show, and one was from Anna and the Apocalypse, which is a Scottish feature film. And basically, we send out the scripts to our actors in advance. They have a little bit of time to sort of learn the dialogue. They come along, and then on the day we assign a director, or in today's case, a couple of directors, someone to do sound, someone to operate camera. And what we try to do is recreate almost the experience that you would have on set. Obviously, we have a lot less time, so we did it today from 11 till 3, with an hour at the end of the day to edit the scenes. So it's really condensed, but I guess the aim is to give all the young people a chance at either acting or some role on the crew, and learn how to build a scene, in film.
So what is it that you're working on tomorrow?
Tomorrow for the under 12s, I am running more of a drama workshop. And it's got a kind of Halloween theme, with it being close to Halloween. So we will be having lots of fun, playing games, and doing some improvisation. So coming up with ideas centred around Halloween and trick or treat. So I think it'll be loads of fun, but it's kind of suitable for anyone who has never done drama before, and then those that are really into drama. I like to kind of cover all aspects so that everyone can be involved.
How have you found today overall?
Great, it's been really good. It's been really quick. I feel like I've blinked and it's the end of the day. But the young people we've had in Dumfries have been really friendly and kind and great team workers and up for a challenge. So that's made our jobs as the facilitators really easy.
Outside of the Scottish Youth Film Foundation, you are a part of the theatre group Stellar Quines. What's it like being a part of a female-led theatre group?
Yeah, so it's amazing. It's Stellar Quines Theatre Company were formed quite a long time ago now by a group of female actresses who were fed up that they didn't have enough work, and a lot of the work that they were seeing was being made by men with a lot of male roles and maybe one or two female roles in like a kind of big theatre production. So they got their heads together and they said, right, we're going to write, direct and make our own theatre pieces that tell female stories and kind of employ females to work in these roles. And a lot of their work now is slightly less about that, and it's more about empowering young women and non-binary people and people sort of from marginalised backgrounds, and I guess people who don't get the opportunities in film and theatre to kind of get their voice to be heard. So it's amazing. It's amazing as a woman to work with lots of women. A lot of their company ethos and values kind of sit with my own. That's great.
Do you think if it wasn't female-led, it wouldn't be as good for the people involved in it?
I think so. I think there's definitely a need for it in theatre especially, and wouldn't like to see Scottish theatre without them, really, because they really give a voice to women. Yeah, they do a lot of great work, and the work that I do with them is outreach work. So that's working with young people, young women in Fife, and we run youth theatres, feminist youth theatres, and that's like unheard of in Fife, you know. Even the word feminist is quite a it's a term that's not always thrown about. So the work that they do is quite groundbreaking.
How long is it that you've been working with Stellar Quines?
Only for like a year and a half.
Okay. Next is a film all about abandoned buildings in Dumfries and Galloway, made by me.
From Rosefield Mills, Interfloor Factory, to empty shops in the centre of town. I've lived in Dumfries my whole life, and yet I can't remember a time when these buildings were functioning. From Heath Hall to the centre of Dumfries, there are abandoned buildings everywhere, each with their own history and story to be told. I've grown up surrounded by these buildings, and grown so used to them that I now know I don't want anything to happen to them. If anything, I want them to be put to use, to see them blossom. Like Mowbray.
It was 2009. Mowbray had been in the papers and in the media quite a bit, just been found out that it was quite badly derelict. From the front, you wouldn't have noticed. It still looked pretty much the same as it was today. However, when you went round the back, all the windows were smashed. Nobody really knew that, and there was pictures released of it inside, and it showed it was really badly derelict.
Simon, along with others, undertook the task of renovating Mowbray, and after 10 years of hard work, it has grown into the tourist attraction we see today.
We never really lost faith in the project. We always wanted to see it through, and I'm glad I didn't, because here we are today.
Mowbray may have been saved, but there's still many buildings abandoned around Dumfries. Why is it people aren't saving other buildings? I put the question to Simon.
I think it takes a lot of people's time. Time is the biggest factor.
Certainly time has caused these buildings to break down. Interfloor Factory has been left long enough, people have vandalised it so much it's now a safety hazard. And serious discussions have been taking place recently into future steps for the old factory. Local MP Emma Harper has been working with Heath Hall Community Council on a petition for action to be taken on the factory. The petition has been making great progress according to her. I asked Emma why Interfloor Factory was her focal point, and she said it was mainly because of how dangerous it's become. Following this, she mentioned that the likely outcome for the factory would be demolition. I personally don't think that it should. I see there is a strange beauty to the factory, and I don't want that to go to waste. When I spoke to Emma, I asked her about what she hoped taking care of Interfloor Factory would lead to in the centre of town. She responded by saying she wished to see Dumfries Town Centre in its former glory. She also mentioned that she felt more needed to be done for the youth in Dumfries. As a teenager living in Dumfries, I can only agree with her.
There isn't enough for us to do, and many of us have to leave Dumfries for entertainment. This shouldn't be the case. I shouldn't have to go to Carlisle or Glasgow to do stuff with my friends. I should be able to do them in the place that I live.
Rosefield Mills is in the centre of town, and I hope it won't be demolished, as its architecture is stunning. And it looks like it won't, because recently some of the windows were done, which hopefully means the old mill will be salvaged and possibly used as a building for more entertainment in Dumfries. The Dumfries Trust website says, the possibility of its reuse for community benefit has received spontaneous and widespread support from the public, both locally in Dumfries and more widely across the region. Clearly, I'm not the only one who feels strongly about these buildings. From Rosefield Mills, Interfloor Factory to empty shops in the centre of town, I have hope they can all thrive just like Mowbray has.
Thank you for that amazing short film, Annie. What was the main inspiration behind it all?
I often walk past Rosefield Mills on my way to school and into town, and so when I had to come up with a film for DGTV, it was really my first thought because I'm surrounded by it all the time. So it's very present in my life.
What was your favourite thing about filming?
I actually really like the editing part because I've never used the software that we used for it, so it was really interesting to learn how it all works. And it was quite meditative, just quite nice to work through it at my own pace, and because I had more time to work on mine, so I took all the time I could, really. But I enjoyed going out and filming too. The drone was really fun as well.
What was the hardest thing about filming overall?
I would say trying to get hold of people for interviewing was really hard because we needed to find a time they were available, I was available, when we had the camera, when we didn't have the camera, and then getting that video as well was quite hard work afterwards, but it came together in the end.
What is the main overall message and takeaway from your film?
I hope people talk more about the abandoned buildings in Dumfries because I feel like they get ignored quite a bit, and if I can make people talk about it more, maybe more will be done about them.
Thank you for your time, Annie.
No problem. I've been Annie.
I've been Grace.
And I've been Kitty.
Thank you for being with us today.
This has been DGTV.